Hey, good evening, everybody. Chef Marshall O'Brien here, and we got Cooking with Confidence cooking show live streaming to you on Facebook and on YouTube. By the way, if you are with us and you've got recipe, ingredients, and you're all set up, that's the whole point of the show, is we want to make a great experience for you. We'll talk about a little bit more about that in a second. But before I get into all that stuff, I guess that is time to do it right now. You want to know why we do this show? 4 reasons. Number 1, we want to give you a positive thing to look forward to. We could use more positive things during the week. So we got that covered at least one night, Thursday night, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Number 2, we want to help you work on your skills and confidence in the kitchen. Number 3, we want to help take the stress out of your life with great, tasty, nourishing meals, do a little meal planning action. And number 4, we want to help you nourish yourself and not just feed yourself. Please make sure that you are following us on Facebook, Chef Marshall O'Brien, on Instagram, Chef Marshall O'Brien, and on YouTube, type in Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence. Please subscribe to our cooking show on YouTube so that we can unlock production capabilities. Really appreciate that, folks. Got a great recipe tonight. How many of you, is this your first time? Let us know in the chat box. And if you don't have the ingredients, as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, go to chefmarshallobrien.com/show so you can get the shopping list recipes in advance and then cook with me in real time, because that's the whole point, as I just said. All right, tonight's recipe. We have chicken Puttanesca. I want to know if any of you have some stories about that. But this great recipe, really easy recipe, and it's really tasty and zesty and tangy, and I'm really excited to show you. The ingredients include chicken. We got some crushed tomatoes, bell pepper, red onions, a little olive oil, little garlic, Italian seasoning, some olives, some capers, what else do I have in there? Do I have some parsley in there? Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. If we have parsley in there, but not actually on the recipe. But it looks nice on the picture. Okay, that's what I thought. Got confused there for a second. Puttanesca, the origins, the general theme, anybody know? Write it in the chat box. You know, that's the way we communicate. And I want to, before we get into the origins of this recipe, I want to give a big shout out to my right-hand gal.
Origins of your wife?
There you have it. My life partner, Miss Jonna. Jonna moderates every Thursday night. She shares a question. We give you answers in real time. If you're watching the show on YouTube, put them in the chat box. Now, if you're watching it on YouTube any other time other than when it's live, we can't answer your questions, but you can still have an awesome cooking experience. So with the chicken Puttanesca recipe, Puttanesca sauce, the just real big picture history, it stems to like a couple hundred years ago, was it, I think, and Italian. It kind of stemmed from sailors would come into town. There was like the lady of the night anyways, you maybe know where I'm going with this, maybe you don't, but it's a zesty, full flavored, awesome recipe. If any of you want to add to the Lady of the Night stories, or the House of Ill Repute, as I learned of it 10 years ago or so, I'm kind of starting to dig a hole. But anyways, that's sort of the really high-level origins, me not being a historian, but being a chef. That's all I'm going to go with it. But it's a great recipe. You're going to love it. All right, again, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Share this with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your family's friends. We want to provide this. This is our way to give back every week, creating a fun, super delicious experience. And we have a very fun, super delicious experience.
And everyone is excited to...
Good. I'm excited. I'm so excited I forgot that we didn't have parsley in the recipe, but I put it in the picture. I want to make sure, speaking of pictures, take pictures of your recipes. You've been doing a fantastic job doing it. I love seeing the action shots, the finished dish with the glass of wine with your significant other smiling, just like enjoying it. We want to give you that. I want to help you have that joy at the table and have a nourishing, great tasting experience. For this recipe, like all recipes, make sure you have your ingredients. You don't have to do a big fancy presentation, but make sure you have your knife, your cutting board. You know, you got your pots, your pans, all that kind of stuff. A couple episodes ago, make sure you have some Band-Aids. Hopefully we don't go down that path again. Questions?
Jackie
comments?
says you do have parsley in it as a garnish.
I knew I had parsley in it as a garnish, and I have parsley in the fridge, so we'll throw some on there as a garnish. Thank you you know what? I totally did, and it's been one of those days. But that is life in the kitchen. And a lot of times, before I get into the cooking, people will ask, can I use this ingredient or that ingredient? And the answer is, for the most part, absolutely, because cooking is an art. Baking's a science. And I want to help you improve your skills and confidence. And when you try new ingredients and you stretch yourself, for those of you that are regulars participating Thursday nights, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, you'll hear people oftentimes say, I stretch, because we give shout outs. We like to show pictures towards the end of the show. We show pictures of what you made, and we acknowledge you for all your hard work, and you're giving us your time to be with us. It's so cool, and I'm so grateful for that. But it stretches you. So you try new ingredients and mix it up, all that kind of stuff. So thanks, Jackie, for reminding me that we indeed do have parsley. I've made this recipe literally, 50 times, and there you have it. Okay, let's get into it. Any questions, comments, thoughts before I...
Tess just comments that great segment yesterday. Yeah, oh my gosh. How was my day going?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we had
Twin Cities Live.
I want to give a shout out to Twin Cities Live, our local KSTP. Elizabeth and Steve are just wonderful, gracious hosts, and their production team behind the scenes. It was a really blessing to be able to. I put on Foods to Improve Your Immune System. It was a great segment. You can watch it in the Facebook, my Facebook Chef Marshall O'Brien feed. Fun segment. Get the recipes. Good stuff. Okay, speaking of good stuff, let's get into tonight's recipe. Can you hand me a hot pad in the lower thing? Because I already burned my hand, and I did a good job. Nobody noticed. But you want to make sure you got all your tools. I'm going to be making just traditional spaghetti pasta. If you want to do a roasted spaghetti squash, which I actually love doing with this recipe, it's really simple. You just cut the squash in half, scoop out the seeds, cut that side down in a sheet pan. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I do that with it, but I'm just going to do some regular pasta. I'm going to wait a little bit because I'm going to time it so that when the pasta sauce, when our Puttanesca sauce is done, then the pasta will be done. So it'll be a little bit hotter, but you could certainly do your pasta in advance. Now, one thing I do, and I always mention this, I always want to reinforce the skills, whether it's the knife skills or it's I heat up my pan so it's hot, warm it up, preheat it, right? And I've just done that. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. My recipe, which I remember, I say you can add ghee in there, which is just like a clarified butter type thing. If you want to add that instead, totally fine. I'm going to put in, now I want to season my chicken here, so I'm going to kind of be a little quick, but I'm basically just trying to conserve my dirty dishes. I don't want to use a bunch of dirty dishes. So I'm seasoning my chicken right now, and then I'm going to put the rest of that in there. If you want to use tongs, if you want to use a fork, I'm trying to minimize stabbing the meat so that we don't lose the juices from the chicken. That's why I did not use a fork, but I am very flexible. I want to get all the barriers out of the way so that you can incorporate, making these great tasting, nourishing recipes for yourself. Questions, comments, thoughts? Okay, we have seasoned our chicken with a little bit of salt and pepper. Pan's hot. You got the sizzle. Like we always say, start with the sizzle. Definitely sizzling. I have hot water in here. Okay, you can see that. I'm going to let that just start to brown a little bit, and I will get my onions cut up. Questions, comments, thoughts? You can use, I like the color of the red onions, and I like the flavor of the red onions, but you can certainly use yellow onions. You can use white onions. Notice how I'm using a series of draw cuts here. Then I can just dice up my onion. Depending on how fresh your onion is, might be a little bit easier to cut. Sometimes when the onion is a little drier, it can be a little harder to cut because the skin gets a little soft. If you need to peel off that extra layer of skin to have it more fresh, therefore your knife will stick through it, please, by all means, do that. We got nice diced up onions. I was so excited to cook with you today that I didn't really give you the slow motion like how to do it. So I will do that with the bell pepper. We're cooking our chicken. If your pan's hot enough and the oil, your fat's hot enough, it won't stick. So you got to be, just pay attention to that. You don't want it to stick because then you're just gonna obviously have chunky stuff sticking in your pan and potentially could burn it down the road, and we don't want that to happen. And I also want to get some nice color on there so that you can see how the chicken, obviously you can see that it's raw there, but we got some nice color. We got color going. Gonna let it keep cooking, and then in just a second, give or take, obviously I'm doing a little TV magic here. You're gonna give it a minute or two to brown, and give it another few minutes to brown. We're gonna add our onions here in just a second. Please, folks, make sure that you submit your pictures, and if you're not getting our recipes in advance, because if you want to cook with us, just sign up chefmarshallobrien.com/show so you get the recipe shopping list in advance. Just sign up. It's easy. It doesn't cost you anything, and you don't have to participate every week. I just want you, if you feel inspired when you see the recipes in your inbox Saturday morning. I send them out Saturday morning, and then I give you a reminder on Tuesday, I believe it is. And then we will also, that's Tuesday, and then we let people know, obviously, through social media. But I just want to get you in the kitchen with me, with you. I want to be with you in the kitchen. A lot of people that watch, they have it be date night, or it's a time to bond with their family. I just want you to get in the kitchen and have a great time and enjoy great tasting, nourishing foods. All right, chicken is sizzling away. I am going to add our onions at this point because we got some nice color on both sides, about a cup of onion. I might have had a little liberal cup there, a little bit over a cup. That's okay. It's going to taste awesome. All right, let's focus on our knife skills. I want to know in the chat box, folks, scale of 1 to 4, how are you with your skills this week? Okay, I try to ask every week. Are you a ninja knife skill master 4, or are you not a ninja knife master 1? Where are you on the scale? And maybe some days are better than other days. It might depend on what's going on, how you're feeling. I don't know. But what I do know is I want you to see how I let my knuckles guide my knife. You see that? I have my fingers tucked in. I let the knife do the work, and just take your time. Take your time. Let the knuckles guide the knife. And I'm rocking the knife. You notice how I just rock the knife. Everybody, I want everybody at home right now that's cooking in real time, I want you rocking the knife. Knife skills are one of the biggest things to have comfort with, like just feeling good about, because when you have confidence in your knife skills, you will try just about anything. Just because you know that you can get through with the preparation and being safe and efficient. And I mean, cutting things is kind of fun, unless it's your fingers. So definitely keep that in mind.
Question.
Yes.
How do you keep your knives sharp?
Great question.
That's from Steve.
Steve, good evening. Appreciate you being here. It's always fun to have you guys along with me. Keep your knife sharp. Couple tips. Number 1, you noticed that when I slice, and then it's time to dump my food. That's such an elegant way. Probably dump and cooking probably shouldn't go together. When I'm going to add my ingredients to my pot, and I'm not going to do it yet, but just as an example, if I do it this way, what's happening, folks? Say it in the chat box. What's happening? Whereas if I flip the knife on the back, and you can do this easily if you have a cook's knife, French knife, chef knife, which is all one and the same basically. You can scrape it, and yes, sorry, I've got there we go. Thank you. I want to just give a shout out to Alex and Gabriel for making tonight's show possible, as they do every Thursday night. Appreciate it, guys. You want to do that. If you do the back, that will help preserve the knife. So that's just one thing. The second thing is, what are you cutting on? Are you cutting on wood, plastic, some kind of polycomposite? I love Epicurean cutting surfaces right out of Duluth, Minnesota. Check them out. I love their stuff. If you're cutting on glass, and I don't know why you would do this, but maybe you are. You don't want to cut on your granite countertop or glass, because glass is great as a way to hold hot food, but it will dull your knives, and a dull knife is a dangerous knife. So there's that point. Let's say your knife is fairly sharp and you want to keep it sharp. We have a honing steel. Okay, Gabriel, here's your moment right there, moment of glory. All right, we've got our honing steel, and I'm being silly, but the point is this is round. This is a round rod, and this is your honing steel. And at a 45-degree angle, there's various ways you can do this.
Roll over.
But at a okay, Gabriel's not letting go of that one. All right. But at a 45-degree angle, alternating strokes, that will help spruce up the blade. If your knife is dull, the honing steel will not help you. Go take it to your local grocery store, butcher, meat department, or if there's a butcher shop, they will gladly, well, I say they will do it. I don't know if they'll gladly do it, but they will do it anywhere from free to $1 to a couple dollars a knife. So that's the ways to do it. Now, I have in the back, I've got a mechanical knife sharpener. There's manual, so there's a variety of sharpening stones, sharpening steels you can use. There you go. Steve, let me know if I answered your question. Appreciate you asking that. I want, I don't know where you're at wherever you're at in your culinary journey, I'll meet you there and we'll cook together, okay? And I want you to feel that, every time that we're doing these, that you can reinforce your skills, and maybe there's something that you learned last week and I bring it up again, but you forgot it, so now you can be reminded of that. Our onions are getting nice and tender at this point, starting to turn a little color. So I'm going to add the red bell peppers. So we talked about flipping the knife over. Okay, we're going to add the bell peppers, the garlic, and I'm going to chop up the garlic in just a second, and the Italian herbs. So Italian herbs. I have a recipe for Italian herbs. I believe it's on my website still, chefmarshallobrien.com. I love making my own. So here we go. Can you see all the different kind of herbs? Look at that. Nice. We've got some basil, oregano, thyme, rosemary, some tarragon. I mean, if you want to get fancy, you can put lavender in there. I do not have lavender in this one, but I love lavender. But it's kind of it's not exotic, but from a cooking standpoint, it might be a little exotic. So don't feel obligated to have to put lavender in there. But, you can always just buy Italian seasoning pre-made at the grocery store. Totally cool. Questions, comments, thoughts?
Steve says thanks, so you did answer.
You're welcome. My pleasure. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds, and I'm going to add the pasta. Again, really any pasta you want for this dish. When we decided to do this, there's some people that will just have the Puttanesca. If they're having it with chicken or with fish, they might just have it straight up without any pasta. Generally, it has some kind of pasta. I think a long pasta, you want to go linguine, fettuccine, I think it's a capellini. I can't remember, but I'm just using regular spaghetti. We're going to add that, and I want to get that. Is there a comment there? Nope. Okay. Thought someone in the back was saying something. I want to bend this down, get this to stick down here. I'm going to turn up my water a little bit because it was hot, and it's still hot as you can see the steam, but it's like, come on, push this stuff down. Some people like to break their pasta in half. I think you could do that, and based on my effort right now, maybe I will do that next time. All right. Okay, we got that going. That looks good.
Zainab says, just got my knives sharpened, so my knife skills have improved this week.
Oh, that's cool, Zainab. I appreciate you sharing that. And I want to make a point. Before I make that point, can you set a timer for like 7 minutes just so I remember to take a look? Okay. When you have a sharp knife, if your knife has been dull for a while, you put a lot more effort into what you're preparing. I'm going to be just mincing up some garlic here. You put a lot more effort in, like pressure into cutting, slicing, dicing, that sort of thing. And that actually is going to put you more in danger, whereas when your knife is sharp, the knife will effortlessly, cut into the food, and you don't have to put all that pressure down. So, Zainab, to your point, your skills are probably improving because it's a little bit easier, and then you feel better about it. So, there's a little psychological influence there that is encouraging you to continue and keep trying with it. So I'm excited. And I'm probably overanalyzing it, but that's sort of how I roll. Okay, let's keep focusing on the knife skills. Oh, we
Rosie.
Rosie, hello,
hi, Mom.
AKA Mom. Nice.
What about using angel hair pasta?
Excuse me. Took a sip of water there. I think angel hair pasta would be great. It'd be awesome. You just want to make sure you have a pasta that will with the way this sauce is, it's going to be nice and thick and hearty, almost like a gravy, just real dense when it's all said and done. You just want your pasta to have that sauce adhere to the pasta, to stick to the pasta. So I think angel hair pasta would be dynamite. I love that idea. All right, garlic. I probably use garlic in, I don't know, 95% of my recipes. Oh, speaking of loving garlic, here's a little tip for you. I got a little health benefit for you folks. Every show I want to give you some kind of health benefit tip with the food. Garlic. One thing that I love about garlic, if you don't want to be around somebody, just eat garlic. That's not the health tip, and I was joking. But with garlic, there's a compound in it called allicin, and it gives it that pungent aroma. Well, that also is antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. So it has some great, obviously great flavor, great aroma, but it has those benefits in there. So I would just say get garlic in your food whenever you can. Other than my joke about warding people away, which might not be a bad thing depending on who it is, it's going to have some really great quality health benefits to that. So definitely, especially in today's world, for those of you that watched my segment yesterday, again, check out the Twin Cities Live segment because we talked about foods to help your immune system. Just scroll down the feed after the show, and we talk about other foods that can help improve your immune system. Garlic, great food. Definitely recommend it. Oh, what we got?
Oh.
Yes.
Jackie is asking, when do the chili flakes get added?
You add the chili flakes towards the end when we add the crushed tomatoes. Now, we're going to keep stirring that up. Looks great. That looks great. We're going to add the chili flakes in when we add the tomatoes here. So we've got our red peppers. We've got the garlic. We got the Italian herbs. Frankly, if you wanted to add the chili flakes now, but the point is that heat will simmer in because we're going to simmer this for about 20 minutes, give or take. Again, you want the sauce to ultimately be like kind of thick gravy-like, and so having that chili flake in there, that flavor is going to really immerse itself, really spread out and incorporate into your dish. So Jackie, to your point, or to your question, we're going to put it in now. Okay, beautiful. Questions, comments, thoughts? This looks awesome. How are we on the time, on the pasta time? I think we are
3 more minutes.
Okay, we are good on that. We're going to let this come to a simmer.
Who's asking? Let's see.
Word of heads up. Word of heads up. That's a new phrase that I probably won't use again. I want you to be mindful when you are cooking something low and slow, low heat, slow time. Make sure that you have a hearty thick bottom pan, because oftentimes maybe you just get a little too hot and then you create a hot spot, and then that hot spot creates burnt food. We don't want that to happen. So nice little tip there is just to make sure that you got a heavy bottom pot so that you can cook with even heat distribution that will allow what you're doing, cooking the way you want, to make that work. So I have a heavy bottom pot on this guy, and I have a thin pot here, but I've got rolling boil, just all this momentum and movement in the pan, so I'm okay, but I hope that makes sense. Oh, this looks good. The pasta is basically done. We're going to feel it. It's good to check. I always talk about like how food is all about awareness. Cooking is all about awareness and feeling, smelling it, touching it. I know I'm kind of silly about like cutting your fingers and don't burn yourself, but obviously you want to be safe. But the more you feel comfortable with, I'm at about, I think we said about 4 or 5 minutes. Pasta, well, it's getting close, but obviously like I still can feel the texture. If I take a bite of it, obviously like I know that it's still a little too dense than I want, but it just helps you make that connection. And I am a big, I'm all for using recipes, and in truth, oftentimes I forget it. I just sort of roll with it, as a lot of you who cook with me have experienced. But I just want you to feel comfortable. So trust your senses, trust your taste, your nose, your hands, all that kind of stuff. All right, questions, comments, thoughts. You got it? Okay,
Yeah,
go for it.
Brandon wants to know, what about garlic powder? Any nutrition left in that?
Brendan, that was?
Yes.
Brendan, appreciate the question. Thanks for being here tonight. So when it comes to, I want to just step back for 2 seconds. I want to get all the barriers out of the way so that you can provide great tasting, nourishing foods and enjoy them and have them work for you. Nourishing is different than eating. You can eat to live or you can nourish to thrive. So having said that, if you're going no garlic to garlic powder or granulated garlic, that's a great first step. Ultimately from a health benefit standpoint, fresh garlic, or you could have it minced up as I had. Thank you. You could have it minced up like I had, and then you could, and I show this probably every other episode. You could have minced up fresh garlic, and then press it in a Ziploc bag and pop it in your freezer. That would still constitute fresh garlic. Jarred garlic, I'm kind of not such a big fan because the flavor tends to change, and depending on how it's processed, like if it's just in water, I can live with it, but I prefer the fresh garlic. It's going to give you the best bang for your nutritional buck. But garlic powder, granulated garlic, great flavor. It's better than nothing. It's definitely a step in the right direction. So appreciate you asking that, and I'm really glad that you gave your time to be here tonight, Brendan. That's awesome. Another question, comment?
Yeah, it
Yes.
looks like I missed a couple questions. Tess is asking, would a red lentil spaghetti work with this?
I think a red lentil spaghetti would be great. Okay, just couple things to think about, and I'm gonna guess, Tess, because I know you enjoy you enjoy cooking. If you are comfortable, like you're used to cooking with those types of pastas, meaning just like a gluten-free, whether it's a garbanzo bean, quinoa, a lentil pasta, you need to make sure that you're following the manufacturer's recommended cooking instructions time-wise, so that you don't overdo it or whatever, because sometimes they can turn like that and then they can just get mushy and fall apart. So if you feel comfortable knowing how to cook it, I think it's great. I want you to feel good making foods that are going to make you feel good. So absolutely. And we actually do a lot of brown rice pasta at home. Myself and my youngest daughter, we have gluten sensitivities, and so brown rice pasta works great for us. And red lentils, I love lentils, but my stomach's a little iffy with them, so I usually don't, just because of my digestive sensitivities. I'm high maintenance, I know, but go for it. Okay, let's take the pasta out of here. My pasta's done. We've got a nice simmer going with our Puttanesca sauce. You want to cook this long enough so that your chicken's tender. If you butterflied the chicken breast, if you had it cut into chunks, that's obviously going to change the cooking time. I have large chunks of chicken, so it would be, it would be longer. Make sure that you put that on low, because you're going to let it cook for 20 minutes or longer, depending on the chicken, as I just talked about, and you don't want to burn the bottom. But we're just going to put the top on there. I'm going to drain our pasta. I would love, I think this would be a nice little break here to give a shout out from last week's folks that participated. And all right, starting with Sharon Cooper, here's one portion of our walleye with the avocado salsa. It looks fabulous. It was delicious, and the family loved the salsa recipe, which we plan to use in other dishes. Also loved the tip about using the avocado pits. Sharon, so glad you got to cook with us and you got to get some new insights. Super awesome. Angela says, so good! Exclamation, exclamation. The canned tomatoes, I'm sure gave a different flavor, so next time I'll try fresh. Beautiful picture, Angela, and you know what? I'm glad you tried it, because that's the whole point. Stretch and try new things and learn from it. That's wonderful. Pam says, made a double batch, made one batch exactly as the recipe said, and the other with breaded panko. Cool. I'm glad you tried that. My teenager tried the salsa virgin, thinking he wouldn't like it, but then he added more. Really gives good flavor, and made a bed of cilantro lime rice along with the asparagus and Brussels sprouts. Delish. We've already decided that we are going to be doing that cilantro lime rice. I love that idea. Thank you very much, folks. We want to help you make it easier in the kitchen. So check out our Smart Nutrition Cookbook and Meal Planner. Go to chefmarshallobrien.com/shop. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Going to make life easier. We got an e-version, which is a great thing, and we got our regular book, which is a super great thing. So check those out. All right, if you coming back into the pasta, if you are going to have that pasta sit, and I'm thinking, Tess, in your lentil pasta, how does it hold? You might need to time it. If it holds fine for minutes, great. If it doesn't, then make sure you time it so that it's ready to, ready to be enjoyed with your sauce when your sauce is ready. I've got an organic whole wheat pasta, and I try to have, the reason why I went with the whole wheat version is I want to have that extra fiber, because that fiber will help slow the absorption of naturally occurring sugars in the starch into the bloodstream, meaning keeps my blood sugar stable. Okay? Why am I bringing that up? Well, if I want to have consistent energy, if I want to have better mental clarity, and I need more of that these days more than other days, based on my forgetting parsley and things like that, you keep your blood sugar stable. It's going to help you with that. So good thing, fiber-rich foods, good protein, healthy fats, going to help work for you, not against you. I'm just putting a little bit of olive oil in my pasta so that it will prevent it from sticking, and that's basically good to go. That looks awesome. I'm going to set that right up here and let that go. Oh, speaking of, what happens now, it's the whole TV magic bit, folks. All right. Here we go. I meant to do this when we were showing the shout-outs, but I didn't. All right, does that look gorgeous or what? So we have a little bit of a reduction. If you have a tight lid, it's not going to reduce, but it'll obviously keep cooking, and the tomatoes and the sugar, the naturally occurring sugars in the tomatoes will continue to really liven up the flavor and get nice and a little darker richness you can see there compared to the other one. There's nothing wrong if you want to reduce the liquid in there, you can certainly do that. But that just absolutely looks dynamite. At this point, we've cooked it, right? And then we're going to add our capers. Some people are asking what capers are. They're a bud of a flower of the caper plant. So these little buds, some of the buds are bigger, so you might see a few different sizes of capers, and I like the yellow ones, or the small ones. They're brined. I mentioned this, if you want to cook with us in real time, when you sign up at chefmarshallobrien.com/show, again, it doesn't cost you anything, and you're not obligated to participate, but you get the shopping list recipes. I will make notes, like with the capers, where to find it in the grocery store, and like kind of what to look for or why it's what it is, so that you, especially if it's a new ingredient, you can have a little sense of comfort and just you don't feel totally blind going to get it. As I mentioned, it's in the vinegar section with like the pickled stuff, and they put it in this brine, so it has a nice, bright, vibrant flavor and a little tanginess naturally occurring in the capers. Just really makes this Puttanesca dish pop. Now, traditional Puttanesca will have anchovies, and you're welcome to put anchovies in there. I chose not to, just because, I don't know, just a lot of people don't know about anchovies, or they're maybe just something that they're not into. I happen to love them. And I'm also a savory guy too, I'm wired that way. So you could put anchovies if you want, but I didn't put those in. All right, we have some, go ahead, you want to?
Amy says, this is the first time we have tried capers. We love them, and my daughter now wants to.
Awesome.
Let's see. Oh my writing is, what's going on? Can't see it, writing. Her daughter wants to buy it again.
Good. That is one of the reasons why we do this show every week, Thursday night, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, is we want to give you a way to connect with your family, with your friends, with your significant others over great tasting, nourishing foods that you can eat and just say, man, I feel great. I don't feel like I'm going to pass out. I mean, that was awesome. It was easy. You're taking ownership for providing yourself a great experience for you and your family, and just having fun and trying new things. And maybe we should do some of that at our house. It's sort of like life gets into go on and on. Anyway, okay, never mind. Moving forward.
I was reading.
Yes.
Tess made a funny story.
Oh, well.
Let's see. She said, funny story about capers.
Yes.
Years ago, we had no idea about what capers were. We looked at the ingredients on the jar, and it said, ingredients, capers.
So, Tess, you didn't really figure out what they were. That was before Google, I'm guessing. You're off the hook. I understand. All right. We took some Kalamata olives. And one thing, for those of you that have sodium sensitivities, this would be considered a higher sodium dish, because you've got the brine from the olives, the brine from the capers, but you could rinse those off if you want to, and you're going to get a ton of flavor even if you do that, and it's going to be a fabulous dish. So just keep that in perspective. My taste buds are pretty sensitive, so like I do rinse off my olives because I just feel like they're overly salty. But obviously, if you have non-brined, which you can't get anyways, but if you were to have non-brined olives, it would taste pretty gross. So I get why they do it, and I like that. But just so you know, you can do that. We're going to add our olives to this. This just looks dynamite. I'm going to get some parsley because I talked about garnishing it. So I'm going to just step into the fridge real quick. Other questions, comments, thoughts? Jonna.
Tess says, yes, way before Google and kids. Too funny. We still laugh about it.
Well, I so appreciate, folks, that you're all cooking with us tonight. Oh, did we have people say how their knife skills were this week compared to last
yes,
week?
we did.
Yeah, how did that go?
It was threes. I had ones. I had 2.5.
Letting the knife do the work, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, letting the knife do the work.
3.5, 3.25.
Good. I remember all the scores from last week. It sounds like we're making improvements, folks. Keep going. That's great. Let's serve this up. This looks super awesome. Remember, please take pictures, action shots, time smiling, enjoying with your friends, family, with your loved ones. Take a picture of your ingredients because we want to acknowledge you, and we do that every week, and it's just a lot of fun doing that. So please, 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 please take your pictures and make sure that you're following us on Facebook here, Chef Marshall O'Brien. Please do us a big favor and share just click the share button, bottom right-hand side while you're watching the video. Share it with your social network community, and then go onto Instagram, Chef Marshall O'Brien, and tell people about it, and then go to our Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence YouTube channel so that we can get more people hanging out and participating. Please do that. This looks just awesome right here. All right. I'm not opposed at all to putting your pasta in the sauce and mixing it up. I just I did this more for a little artistic view. Doesn't that look awesome there? Okay.
Looks beautiful.
Yep, it looks really great. Boom. All right, there's the pasta. There's the parsley.
Parsley.
Yes. All right, folks. Okay, let's recap real quick. So we talked for tips. Cooking the pasta, timing it so that it can be fresh when your sauce is done, or you can make your pasta in advance and then just warm it up, or just add it with your sauce and the heat from the sauce will warm it up. We talked about Italian herbs, make your own blend, or just gift the blend. We talked about mincing garlic, and frankly with onions and peppers, you can mince or chop, dice, slice all those in advance, have them ready to go. Let's see, what else did we talk about? We talked health benefits of garlic, helping support your immune system since it's antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. Get immune boosting foods into your life. Watch my yesterday's segment that you can just scroll down in the Facebook feed. I think that's all it for my tips. Remember, submit your pictures. I appreciate you so much being with me, cooking with me tonight, and letting me be with you. You gave your time. You didn't have to, and I'm just so grateful for that. Awesome. Enjoy your dish. Again, follow us Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You want more help? Get our Smart Nutrition Cookbook and Meal Planner, okay? Great resource for you. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, multi-cooker dishes, dressings, dips. Helps you meal plan, set your kitchen up for success. Give it to your kids, give it to relatives that don't know how to hold a knife. After that, when they get that book, they're going to be a lot more confident. So make sure that they have that. Next week's dish, you're going to find out Saturday morning. Okay, got a great one coming up. And I think that's it. Look forward to having you next week. Thank you, Jonna, for being awesome as usual. Thanks to Alex and Gabriel. Look forward to seeing you next week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.